Most people allow their friends, family, and society to influence their choices so much that they never really live their own lives. That isn't a quote from a trending podcast. That's a warning from Napoleon Hill, the man who spent 25 years studying the richest and most powerful people in the world. He didn't just talk about money, he talked about failure. Your failure. Hill believed that most people would never fail because they weren't smart or talented. They would fail because they lost control of their own minds. He called it drifting. It happens quietly. You get distracted, you avoid making decisions, you wait, you procrastinate, and slowly, without even realizing it, your goals disappear, your future fades. Your future fades. Your life begins to feel empty, and you don't know why. The scary part, Napoleon Hill predicted all of this, not in 2024, but in the early 1900s, before smartphones, before social media, before we lived in a world where your attention is bought, sold, and controlled. He warned us that drifting would become a silent epidemic, and he was right. But Hill didn't just point out the problem. He gave us the solution. If you've ever felt stuck, if your dreams feel distant, if your energy is always low, and your mind is always busy, then keep watching, because this video will show you exactly what Napoleon Hill said, why it matters more now than ever, and what you can do, starting today, to break free from the patterns that are slowly ruining your life. This isn't a motivational speech, it's a wake-up call. Let's begin. Before we dive deeper into what Napoleon Hill predicted, let's take a moment to understand who he really was, and why his ideas are still changing lives today. Napoleon Hill was born in 1883, in a small cabin in Virginia. He grew up poor. No fancy education, no connections, no privilege. Just a boy with a typewriter, and a dream to understand success. At the age of 25, something happened that changed everything. He was given an assignment to interview Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in the world at the time. Carnegie saw something in Hill and made him a challenge. If I introduce you to the most powerful people on earth, will you spend your life discovering what makes them successful and teach it to the world? Hill said yes, and that journey lasted over 25 years. He studied Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Theodore Roosevelt, and hundreds more. And what he discovered wasn't just a list of business tricks. It was a set of deep psychological patterns. Thoughts that create success, thoughts that create failure. In 1937, he published the book Think and Grow Rich. But here's what most people don't know. The book wasn't about just growing rich in money. It was about growing rich in mindset, in purpose, in discipline, and in vision. And it became one of the best-selling books in history. Over 100 million copies sold in over 40 languages, and still used by CEOs, athletes, entrepreneurs, and world leaders. But even Hill said there was one book he was afraid to release. A book where he went deeper. A book where he exposed the dark side of failure. The one that predicted how average people would lose their dreams, and not even know it. That book was called Outwitting the Devil, and it wasn't published until over 70 years after it was written. Why? Because Hill's message was too honest, too direct, too dangerous to those in power. But now, we have access to it, and what he revealed inside that book is what this video is really about. He warned about a mental disease he called drifting, how it would become the #1 reason people fail, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and personally. In the next section, you'll see exactly what drifting is, and how you may already be trapped in it without even knowing. Napoleon Hill believed there was one behavior responsible for almost every failure in life. He didn't call it laziness, he didn't call it fear, he called it something far more dangerous: drifting. But what exactly is drifting? Drifting is what happens when you stop thinking for yourself, when you stop living with purpose, when you let life happen to you. Instead of taking control, it starts quietly. You make small decisions without meaning. You follow the crowd, you stay busy, but deep down, you feel empty. You know you should be doing more, but you can't seem to start. You know you have goals, but they stay stuck in your head. You tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. Hill wrote, a drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind. Sound familiar? Look at the world today. We scroll for hours, distracted by things we don't even care about. We let fear guide our decisions. We say yes to people we don't even like. We chase what's popular instead of what's meaningful. And drifting isn't just procrastination, it's a mental fog. It's the slow, quiet death of your potential. The worst part, drifters often don't even know they're drifting. They stay busy, they feel tired, they say they're trying, but year after year, nothing changes. D. All the while, we drift. Hill said drifting happens because people fail to choose. They don't choose their goals. They don't choose their beliefs. They don't choose their direction. And when you stop choosing, the world chooses for you. Your friends, your phone, your past, your fear. They take the wheel, and you just ride along. That's drifting. And once it takes over, it becomes a habit, a rhythm, a lifestyle. Napoleon Hill believed that drifting was the biggest threat to the human spirit, not poverty, not failure, not rejection, but the slow, comfortable life of doing nothing, with no purpose, and right now, millions of people, maybe even you, are drifting, every single day. But here's the good news. Once you see the pattern, you can break the pattern, and in the next section, we're going to get brutally honest, because I'm going to walk you through the clear warning signs that you are already drifting, so you can stop the damage before it's too late. Most people don't wake up one day and realize, I'm a drifter, because drifting doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, quietly, without warning. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Napoleon Hill said that drifters can be busy but empty, successful looking but lost, constantly in motion, but going nowhere. So how do you know if you're drifting? Asterisk, here are the 7 silent signs. Sign number 1. You can't finish what you start. You have big ideas, great plans, but they always stay in your head, or die halfway. Your notebook is full, your mind is racing, but nothing is completed. Drifters are great at starting, but terrible at finishing. Sign number 2. You're always busy, but rarely productive. You fill your day with tasks, but at the end of the day, you don't feel any closer to your goals. You're active, but not aligned. Sign number 3. You let fear decide for you. You delay decisions because you're afraid of making the wrong one. You say yes to stay safe. You avoid conflict, risk, and growth. Fear becomes your invisible master. Sign number 4. You compare constantly and feel behind. You scroll through other people's lives and feel like you're losing. You measure your progress by how others are doing. This creates quiet resentment, and it paralyzes your self-worth. Sign number 5. You chase dopamine, not discipline. You rely on quick hits of pleasure, food, entertainment, distractions to escape the discomfort of growth. Drifters don't face pain, they numb it. Sign number 6. You keep saying soon. I'll start after this week. Once things calm down, I'll focus. Next month, I'll really begin. These are the phrases of a drifter. They sound smart, but they destroy momentum. Sign number 7. You feel tired, even when you haven't done much. This is the emotional exhaustion of living a life without direction. It's not physical tiredness, it's soul fatigue, the cost of not listening to your deeper self. If even 3 or 4 of these signs sound like you may already be drifting, and that's okay, because now you can change. Hill believed that the first step to escaping drifting was awareness. You must call it out, you must confront it, you must make the invisible visible, because drifting isn't just about failure, it's about regret. And regret only grows louder the longer you stay asleep. But here's the turning point. Once you realize you're drifting, you can choose to wake up. And that choice, that moment of clarity, is where your real power begins. In the next section, we'll reveal the enemy behind the drift, the hidden force that Napoleon Hill believed was keeping you weak, distracted, and afraid, and we'll talk about how to fight it. Starting right now, in Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill reveals something bold and almost terrifying. He claims that drifting doesn't just happen by accident. Asterisk, it's encouraged, it's engineered, it's the result of invisible forces, mental traps, designed to keep you obedient, fearful, and small. And he gives this force a name, the devil. But this isn't the red demon from religion. Hill uses the devil as a metaphor, a symbol for every idea, system, and belief that steals your focus, manipulates your fears, and keeps you from owning your life. Point 1. Fear is the number 1 tool. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of poverty, fear of judgment, even fear of success. These fears don't shout, they whisper. What if they laugh at me? What if I lose everything? What if I'm not good enough? And those whispers are enough to stop you from ever starting. Hill believed that most people don't live, they react, and that reaction is almost always based on fear. 2. Indoctrination from a young age. You're taught what to think, not how to think. You're told to follow rules, avoid risks, and stay inside the lines. You're rewarded for obedience, not creativity. And by the time you're grown up, the programming is deep. you've become easy to control. That's why Hill believed school systems, media, and even religious institutions often unknowingly help people become drifters by creating mental habits that destroy curiosity, courage, and independent thought. 3. Distraction. This is the devil's most modern weapon and the most dangerous. Today, distraction isn't accidental. It's a business model. Your phone, your feed, your content loop, all designed to keep your brain busy, but your purpose forgotten. Hill warned that the more distracted you are, the easier it is for outside forces to control your direction. And the scariest part, you don't feel it happening. You still believe you're making your own choices, but in reality, your mind is on autopilot. You're reacting to noise, not creating your life. So what does Hill say we must do? We must fight back, but not with anger, not with rebellion, with clarity. The person who thinks for themselves, who controls their own mind, can outwit the devil. In other words, if you can master your mind, no one else can master you. And that's exactly what Hill teaches next. In the following section, you'll learn the 7 mental disciplines Napoleon Hill believed could protect you from drifting and turn your potential into unstoppable focus. Now that we've exposed the trap, it's time to escape it. Napoleon Hill didn't just warn us about drifting, he gave us the tools to destroy it, to take back control of your mind, your direction, your life. These are the 7 laws of mental freedom. They aren't complicated, but if you apply them consistently, they can change everything. Lway 1. Definiteness of purpose. There is no hope of success for the person who does not have a central purpose or goal at which to aim. This is where it begins. You must know what you want and why you want it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to impress anyone, but it must be clear. Without a definite purpose, you become a leaf in the wind, floating through life without power or direction. Ask yourself, what is my mission right now? Not forever, not someday. Right now. 2. Mastery over fear. Fear is natural, but being ruled by fear is a choice. Hill said the moment you call your fear by name, it begins to lose its grip. Is it fear of failure? Fear of judgment? Fear of not being enough? Write it down. Say it out loud. Then ask, is this fear worth giving up my future for? Because most of the time, it isn't. 3. Self-discipline. This is where dreams go to die, or come to life. Discipline doesn't mean perfection, it means doing what matters, even when you don't feel like it. Hill believed that without discipline, drifting is inevitable. Must train your habits to serve your purpose, not your comfort. 1 hour of focused effort a day can completely shift your trajectory in 30 days. Start small, stay consistent. 4. Controlled attention. You become what you focus on. If your attention is scattered, so is your life. Hill said most people never control their thoughts, and wonder why they never control their results. You must protect your attention, like your life depends on it, because it does. What you read, what you watch, who you spend time with. These are not harmless inputs. They are shaping your identity. 5. Learning from adversity. Pain is not the enemy. Wasted pain is. Hill wrote, every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. That means your mistakes are not setbacks. They're feedback. The drift pulls people who run from failure. Mental freedom belongs to those who learn from it. Ask yourself, what is life trying to teach me right now? 6. Decision-making power. Is drifting in disguise. Hill warned, indecision crystallizes into doubt, and doubt becomes fear. Decide quickly and stick to your decision unless there's a strong reason to change. Successful people act even when the outcome is uncertain. Drifters hesitate and wait for perfect conditions that never come. Practice making small decisions fast. You'll build the muscle to make the big ones with confidence. 7. Positive mental environment. Your mind is shaped by what surrounds it. Hill said, your mental attitude is the only thing over which you have complete control. That means you must engineer your mental environment. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, books that stretch you, and messages that strengthen you. Stop feeding your mind junk and start feeding it fuel. These 7 laws aren't secrets, they're practices. But here's the truth, most people won't apply them. Why? Because they're waiting to feel ready. But Hill would tell you this, don't wait for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect conditions. Act now, and the rest will follow. And that brings us to your final challenge. In the next section, we'll walk through how to implement these laws today in 5 clear, simple, and you've seen the trap. You've learned the warning signs. You know the laws. Now it's time to act. Because no amount of insight matters unless you turn it into execution. That's why Napoleon Hill believed in simple, repeatable disciplines. So if you want to stop drifting and reclaim your direction, here are the 5 steps to apply starting today. Step 1. Set one dominant goal. Get the overwhelming to-do list. Pick one mission, one goal that matters most right now. Make it specific. Make it time-bound. Make it personal. Examples: earn $5,000 a month doing X within 90 days. Lose 10 pounds through healthy eating and training in 60 days. Launch my first business idea by end of the quarter. Write it, own it, review it every morning. Definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Napoleon Hill. Step 2. Design a 24-hour environment. Audit your environment. Is shaping your destiny right now? Take 15 minutes today and ask, who around me lifts me up, and who drags me down? What apps, shows, websites waste my time? What books or voices should I be listening to instead? Change your inputs, change your mindset. Unfollow, unsubscribe, unplug, then rebuild a space that supports your rise. Step 3. Set a power hour ritual, 1 hour a day. Just one. Use it for focused work on your goal, learning a new skill, building discipline through discomfort. No distractions, no multitasking, just progress. Drifters never focus. Achievers train themselves. 2. Start small if you must, but start now. Step 4. Track micro wins. Momentum, ISNT, built from big wins. It's built from daily proof that you're showing up. Track: did I follow my plan today? Did I face resistance instead of running? Did I do one thing uncomfortable on purpose? Write it down. Celebrate effort, not just results. Hill believed confidence was built from small victories, stacked consistently. Step 5. Kill the excuse loop. Catch the voice in your head that says, I'll start next week. I'm too tired today. I'm not ready. That voice is the drift talking. You don't reason with it. You override it. Create a go-to phrase like, I don't negotiate with weakness. Action first, emotion later. This is the new me. No turning back. Use it like armor. Repeat it when the excuses show up. Because they will. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need more motivation. You just need to decide. I refuse to drift. I choose to live on purpose. That's the moment your life starts to change, and it leads perfectly into the final section of this journey, where we tie everything together with a challenge and show you why your greatest transformation might begin today. You've made it this far, and that already sets you apart. Most people never get here. They scroll, they skip, they move on, because somewhere deep inside, they've already given up control. But not you. You came looking for something, a spark, a reason, a roadmap, and now you have it. You've seen how Napoleon Hill predicted your greatest danger wouldn't be failure, but drifting, living without clarity, direction, or power. You've learned the tools to fight back, how to master your fears, how to set a definite purpose, how to focus your attention and control your environment, how to turn adversity into advantage. Now you stand at the edge of two paths. One leads to distraction, delay, defeat. The other, to purpose, discipline, and personal power. And the difference between them: a decision, not a loud, dramatic moment, but a quiet, internal vow. Will not let life happen to me. I will happen to life. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to move with purpose every day. Read this again tomorrow. Watch this again next week. Train your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. If this message hit you somewhere deep, if you know someone who's drifting and doesn't even realize it, then don't keep this to yourself. Share this video. Help someone wake up before it's too late. Subscribe to this channel for more deep, mind-shifting content, because we're just getting started. And in the comments below, type, "No more drifting," if you're committed to living with purpose from this moment on. Let this be your declaration. Remember, the only real limitation is the one you accept in your own mind. Napoleon Hill. Reject the drift. Claim your power. Design your life. This is your time. Now go create something extraordinary.